Well, thanks for stopping by again, Taurus. It's May 2016. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au with your month in focus. And this month, the theme for all the star signs, I thought I'd talk about expansion, self-empowerment, and how the planet Jupiter in particular, along with a couple of others, is going to enable you to really move ahead and feel good about what you're doing. Because we still see the very unsavory conjunction of Mars and Saturn in that 8th house, the 8th house being financial partnerships and the money that other people in your life have control over. It is also the sexual area of your horoscope. Of course, that has a lot to do with sharing of not only the material resources that you have, but the sexual and, to a large extent, the emotional resources. It is that area of the horoscope that has a lot to do with vulnerability in a way, because you're really exposing yourself in those most intimate moments. And here we see a lot of frustration taking place in that area. Obviously, a part of your life that may be requiring some sort of refocus of your attention, which is where Jupiter in your 5th house right now, and just very, very recently Venus moving into your sun sign, along with the sun itself and Mercury, because this is the time of the year when a lot of you will be having your birthday. So this is called the solar return. So there's a real activation and an empowerment of your sense of self. And if you've handed that over to someone else over the past few months or years, perhaps for some of you, the whole of your life, and that becomes even more difficult to break free of, then this 5th house Jupiter, with the beautiful triangular aspect to your sun sign, is indicating that it's time to really take control of your life again and do exactly what makes you happy. It appears from what I'm seeing here that some of you have basically handed over the reins of power to other people in your life, and therefore disempowering yourself. I mean, there'll be two types within the Taurus camp, and that is those who realize that they are responsible for that, and the other lot who actually feel as if they have to blame the other person when in fact they may have forgotten exactly how their circumstance came about. So I want you to think about that this month. It's very, very important. Along with Venus, the Sun and Mercury moving through your sun sign, on the 7th we see the important new moon taking place. And that new moon is also ruling your 3rd house of communication. So what does that mean? It does empower you to try a different style of relating to the other person. Now you may have thought, well, I've tried everything I can to resolve the situation or to improve the situation. Well, actually, this tells me you haven't. So you have to dig deep to pull out of yourself some of those magical means of communicating. Don't forget, when we talk about communication, Taurus, that the vast majority of our communication is non-verbal. I've talked about this before in the past. So what I'd like you to do as an exercise this month, rather than yapping away or feeling that you've got to have a deep and meaningful, is to observe. Even step aside from your partnerships, your intimate love relationships, and look at people and how they communicate to each other without actually listening to the words. Take a look at what's being said, non-verbally, the way people dress, the sort of objects that they wear, the statements that they're making, the hand gestures, the facial movements, the micro expressions. All of these are important cues and give you a much deeper insight into how you may be able to handle the current circumstance that you find yourself in. And this is more the case if there have been complications financially as a result of your inability to really reconnect with the person that you thought you once loved. Hopefully you still do, but sometimes I guess you wonder, especially under these sorts of transits. So Mercury's retrograde until the 22nd, and coincidentally, that is also the date that the moon is full in this 8th house that we're talking about. So it could well be that even if you're listening carefully to what I'm saying, it's going to take you a while, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, to get on board with what I'm saying and realize that there are probably other ways in which you can communicate or understand what the other person is communicating to you. It's all about observation this month. And you may miss some of those cues because of the retrogression of Mercury, but generally this planet is a very favourable one for you. So I don't think that you'll miss too much, but you may just not have the opportunity to communicate what you want to until the latter part of the month. Now I've got a whole list of aspects here. I'm not like the typical astrologer. I'm not going to chronologically go through every single one of them. Sometimes I just pick the eye out of what I think is going to relate to you, pardon me, for this month. We've mentioned the direct stationary aspect of Mercury. That's particularly important because it rules your 2nd house of finance and your 5th house of love and relationships. And I told you that that is the area where Jupiter is. And interestingly, that is also the creative part of your horoscope. That we've discussed a few times. It's been activated right now. It is very powerfully moving retrograde, and that shows us that the element of Jupiter is going to influence you. That has to do with your children. It may mean also redirecting some of your energies into self, rather than feeling as if you need someone else to empower you during this phase of your life. Your ruling planet Venus makes a move out of your sun sign into the sign of Gemini on the 24th. So that's going to also bring with it an upliftment in terms of your finances. It is also an excellent position for family. And mind you, there's going to move into an opposition to Mars and then Saturn. So this is a pretty interesting position, especially for those of you that are single. It could show a real burst of passion, impulsive passion, then followed by a very quick cooling off in the days following that opposition, which is the 25th, then probably up till the end of the month. So I would be suggesting that as the month comes to a close, you should be a little careful to scrutinise and use that advice that I've given you on studying the non-verbal gestures of people, so you can glean exactly what is going on behind what is said. The full moon also on the 22nd is going to help empower you in terms of your finances and give you a clear insight into how to deal with, for example, business partnerships, how your business partners or even your spouse or lovers are handling monetary circumstances. You may have something to say about that, and that's about the time when you're going to say it. I hope you'll join me again next month. As I've said previously, this is a synopsis, a very brief overview. Continue to work on expanding your understanding of self, becoming more independent in yourself, loving yourself, and that's the key to your success, I believe, throughout May, Taurus. Look forward to your company again. Don't forget to join me at the site astrology.com.au for a more expansive view of what's going on. I look forward to meeting with you here next month and continuing the ongoing story of your star sign. Bye for now.